So as we navigate these unprecedented times, many are wondering how to safely either buy or prepare food to minimize transmission of the novel coronavirus. Although we do not have concrete evidence regarding specific dietary factors that can reduce risk of acute infections like COVID-19, we do know, a few things. There are a few things that you can do in keeping our immune system strong. So in the face of current uncertainties, we have a dietitian, Maxwell Bisala Conlan. He's a member of the Ghana Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics. He's got a few tips for all of us to learn this morning. Good morning to you. Yeah, thank you for being here.
Yeah, I'm honored to be here.
Okay, great. Yeah. So first of all, I pulled out my vitamin C because it's one of the things that we have been told could boost your immune system. Alternatively, you can drink a lot of oranges or other fruits that you can get it from. So maybe we should start from that angle before we zero in into the food proper.
Okay.
What do you make of this?
All right. So I think that with the recent outbreak of COVID-19, there have been a lot of unsubstantiated claims in the internet and all over the media space, trying to promote some specific foods that has been shown to improve, or boost the immune system. But I would rather encourage is a healthy, balanced diet. Okay, the function of the immune system does not depend on just one particular food. It's not a one size that fits all. It depends on several nutrients because there are several cells in the immune system that respond to different nutrients and help in its ability to fight infection. So vitamin C is actually one of the nutrients that is shown to improve the immune system. Okay. Yes, and when we go into the conversation, you realize that it's actually very important and it can help boost your immune system. However, we do not recommend the intake of like trying to take a lot of vitamin C supplement in place of getting it from the natural whole food. All right. Yeah. So that same vitamin C, you can get it from the citric fruits like the oranges, the lime, tangerine, pineapple. So we encourage people to actually eat the fruit itself instead of taking the supplement. In fact, there's a lack of evidence on on people who take in supplement to be able to boost their immune system. However, in terms of immune deficiencies, then that is when there is a need to take in either vitamin C supplement or any of the other nutrients of importance that has been shown to improve the immune system. Okay, so let's get into the conversation. Let's start with the fruits because you mentioned the lime, the oranges. Okay. Keep naming them. And how many do you have to take? Somebody told me if you have to do oranges, this is tangerine. Yeah. It means you're taking about 20 of that to make up, like one tablet of the vitamin C. Yeah, so like I said, I think the vitamin C supplement has been overhyped. You don't need 20 oranges to be able to have an equivalent of one vitamin C tablet. In fact, we don't even want people to be abusing the use of supplement because some of the supplement in high intake can cause toxicity. Example is vitamin A, which has also been shown to improve the immune system. So the recommendation for intake, the general healthy eating for intake of fruit and vegetable recommends that at least you eat about at least 5 portions of fruit and vegetables a day. So, 5 portions? Yes, 5 portions. A portion of fruit, like for an orange, is just one small medium orange. Is it? Could be a 7. Okay. So it means that if you are able to take 2 oranges within the day, and then you are able to end up eating other vegetables to be able to meet your 5 servings or portions of fruit and vegetables, it will be enough to help the body to improve the immune system. So it's a myth. You don't need 20 oranges. No. Okay. You don't need 20. In fact, the fruit also contains certain amount of sugars, and we are also careful because if you take excess amount of fruit in addition to your carbohydrate intake, you may end up gaining a lot of weight. Okay. So it's about 5 portions of fruit and vegetables a day, and the only time vitamin C supplementation may be important it's when the person is at risk of nutrient deficiencies. That is the only time we recommend people to take vitamin C. However, when it comes to the food, normally we encourage a healthy, balanced diet. Like I said, the immune function does not depend on one particular food, okay? And currently up to date, since the outbreak of COVID-19, there hasn't been any research that has been done by any certified regulatory body to tell us that certain specific amount of food ingredients can actually prevent you from getting COVID-19. And also, people should be careful. Eating healthy or taking vitamin C does not mean that you cannot get the COVID-19 infection. So we encourage people to still adhere to the standard precautionary measures while we look at eating a healthy, balanced diet. Okay, and so that is the focus of the conversation. Though there are certain critical nutrients that may be important to improve the immune system, a healthy, balanced diet is key to sustaining and improving your immune system. Okay. And how do you eat a healthy, balanced diet?
Okay. Yeah. So I get what you're trying to tell us is take your mind off taking something just because of COVID-19 to boost your immune system and generally eat a healthy, balanced diet.
Excellent. Okay. That is the message. That is a key message. You don't have to actually rely on specific food ingredients or components that may be associated with improved immune system, because the immune function does not depend on one particular food ingredient, but a totality of a balanced meal.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So tell us how we move forward from here. So what should we know?
All right. So, I mean, ever since the outbreak of COVID-19, one of the main things that has come in the limelight about diet is what do people eat to protect themselves from the outbreak. And so even as we try to adhere to standard precautionary measures like hand washing, use of hand sanitizers, we need to understand that a healthy immune system can help us fight the disease. Very, very important. And you realize that most of the people who are at risk of mortality are 60 years and above. And this is simply because they may have other pre-existing conditions such as diabetes, hypertension, kidney failure that tend to lower their immune system. And so it's been well established that a strong immune system can actually help in recovery of COVID-19 patients. However, we want people to try as much as possible to still adhere to the standard precautionary measures. In terms of the food, we are looking at the Eat Well guide, okay? The
Eat Well
guide, yes. It's actually one of the food guides for UK that actually shows how people should eat healthy in times like this. Okay. And it's been, it came out through evidence and it's based on research. So when you look at the Eat Well guide, it comes in a plate form. It's unfortunate we don't have the picture, but it comes in a plate form. The Eat Well guide comes in a plate form.
So our director, help us. There's a guide that we need to put on the screen. Yeah. All right. Let's try and get the guide. So, but you go on. I'll let you know when we have it.
Yeah. So with the Eat Well guide, it contains a picture of a plate that has the different food groups that is showing as to how people should eat.
Is that it?
Excellent. That's so this is it. Okay. Yes. So when you look on the screen, you realize that when you look at the plate, the green portion actually contains the fruit and vegetables. So at least it means in times like this, in terms of COVID-19 infection, we should try to be eating a lot of fruit and vegetables. Okay. You realize that you have close to about half of the portion of the plate being filled with fruit and vegetables.
Please do mention some of the foods that we see there.
Yes.
Where we have the fruits and vegetables.
Yes. So we have some banana in there. We have carrots. We have cabbage. We have tomatoes. We have other vegetables in there. So it's a whole lot of variety of different fruit and vegetables. So we should be eating about half of that per our plate, meaning you need to have about 5 to 6 servings of fruit and vegetables to be able to help improve your immune system.
Okay. Which of, because we eat 3 times.
Yes.
So do you have to, must you have portions of this in each of the meals?
So yes, it should come together with your meal, or sometimes you can have it in between the meals. Okay. All right. But at the end of it, what is important is you should be able to meet about at least 5 servings of fruit and vegetables a day. Okay. And like as earlier on said, a fruit, 1 serving of a fruit is 1 medium orange. A small medium banana, it's a 7. And so if you're able to get 3 fingers of banana and you get other vegetables in place, like contemporary gardeners, by the close of the day, you would be able to meet your vegetable serving. And a serving of vegetable is a lot, okay? You need to have close to about 1 cup of raw vegetables to meet a serving of vegetable. It's not the typical 50 pesos small amount of vegetables that we'll buy. That is not enough. And in times like we encourage people to buy the vegetables at home so that they can prepare the vegetables then instead of buying it outside.
Great.
And then when you go back to the plates, aside the fruit and vegetables, going back to the plate.
Let's go back to the guide.
Yeah. So you realize that the yellow portion contains the carbohydrates, okay, which talks about our banku, our kenke, the rice and other stuff.
Bread.
Yes, the bread and all that. But over there, so the portions for the day should also be about 5 to 6 servings a day. Okay, you should have about 5 to 6 servings a day. And with that, we are emphasizing that people should eat a lot more of the whole grains. Okay, whole grains means things that are not in their refined form, things that have a lot of fiber, because they tend to contain most of those micronutrients that are critical to boosting the immune system.
Okay.
So, but you realize this is typically different from a typical Ghanaian diet because we would normally eat a lot more carbohydrates than the fruit and vegetables.
In the morning,
so when you look at the picture clearly, you realize that we should be cutting down on our carbohydrates and allowing more of the fruit and vegetable to fit in. Okay. Then the yellow portion in there in the middle is the dairy products. Okay, it has to do with the meat, lean meat, and then oily fishes. Okay, so that small portion, the yellow portion, the pyramid portion there, talks about us eating adequate amount of protein from the animal sources as well as the oily fishes. But we encourage that people should eat lean meat that is not fatty.
Can you mention, because I want us to bring it home so people will know by name.
Yes, so yes, so normally we would encourage people to eat lean meats. Lean meat means that there's no fat in it because we are discouraging people from taking excess amount of fat.
Okay, and that could be gotten from?
Yeah, it could be gotten from all animal sources, you know, but some of the animals may tend to have more fat than the others. But whatever it is, whatever meat you buy, you may have to take away all the fat from the meat.
Okay.
Okay. And
I tend to take the skin from the chicken. Is that a good thing?
That is excellent. So that is another way to reduce the amount of fat in chicken. Once you get that out, that will be okay. All right. So with regards to the Eat Well guide, that portion is actually showing that we should be eating, some amount of lean meat, oily fishes as well, which comes from the animal proteins. Then back to the Eat Well guide, we have the blue section. The blue pyramid also talks about the dairy products, which is the milk and milk products. We typically will not do much in Ghana, but we're encouraging people to go for some dairy products, okay? And that should be about 2 to 3 servings a day. With regards to dairy products, we are advocating, or I recommend that people should go for the low-fat milk, skimmed or semi-skimmed, okay, instead of the full-fat milk, because all
the evaporated ones.
Yes, most of them will end up having a lot of fat in there. So you rather go for the skimmed or semi-skimmed milk to be able to get your dairy sources of protein. Okay. So going back to the Eat Well plate, aside the dairy products, you see there's a section that has been taken out on the far, let's say on the far left. You see that the junk foods such as biscuits, chocolate, and drinks are taken out of the plate. So that's
out of the circle.
Yes, so it shouldn't be the main focus of our diet.
Okay.
Those things should be eaten in very limited portions.
You mentioned biscuits, chocolate, so all the cookies
most of
and
the
the
sugar sweetened beverages are in there. Okay, so most of the sugar sweetened beverages should be reduced in terms of consumption.
Okay.
And then on the right side, you see there's the fat and oil. It doesn't also have a way in the plate. It doesn't have a place in the plate. It's a very small portion, meaning that we should be limiting our intake of fat and oil.
I see these days we tend to use the soya bean. Is it healthier?
Yes, so soya
instead
bean,
of the vegetable oil.
Yes, so soya bean oil is actually healthy. It's one of the oils that can help, prevents the body at risk of high cholesterol. But even irrespective of the healthiness of the soya bean oil, it shouldn't still be consumed in excess amount. So sometimes some people think that because you say the oil is healthy, then they want to put in a lot of the oil, because fat is fat. If you consume a lot, you still end up gaining weight.
Okay,
so
we have our local oil on the screen. This is the palm nuts.
Yes, so palm nuts. Yes, so palm oil is actually also considered one of the healthy oils. However, we are encouraging people to limit its intake because it has a certain type of fats called saturated fats, which can put the body at risk of high cholesterol. That's if it's consumed in excess amount. This same palm oil is very rich in vitamin A, and vitamin A has been shown to improve the immune system, to boost the immune function. So I encourage that people eat a lot of vitamin A rich sources, including the palm oil. All right, but we need to try not to overconsume. Overconsumption will rather put the body at risk instead of improve the outcome of the body.
Okay.
Then, talking about COVID-19 and diet, there are certain specific micronutrients that has been shown to actually improve the immune system. Though we are not advocating for the intake of one particular, food or ingredient, but it's also worth mentioning the nutrients that can help the body to boost the immune system. So one of them has to do with vitamin A rich foods. Okay, vitamin A rich foods have been shown to improve immune function, and people who take in a lot of vitamin A can actually do well to fight the infection. Now, we are not saying go and buy a supplement. What we would recommend is to eat the whole food that has the vitamin A. Okay, so examples of vitamin A rich foods, like I said, our local palm oil is one of them. It has rich sources of vitamin A. You can get vitamin A from carrots. You can get vitamin A from tomatoes. You can get vitamin A from pawpaw. You can get vitamin A from watermelon. Okay, most of the fruits. Okay, so tomatoes is one of them. So most of the brightly orange colored fruits actually contains rich sources of vitamin A. Okay. So we encourage people to take in a lot of vitamin A. Apart from vitamin A, there's another, particular vitamin that can also improve the immune system, which is vitamin C, which is one of the most overhyped, and people are buying all sort of supplement, So you do not need a vitamin C supplement to be able to give you that immune function. You only need it in terms of nutrient deficiencies, established deficiencies, especially those who are aged.
Like a sick person, yes, who is recovering.
Of course. And it should be recommended either by your dietitian or a doctor. And so we are encouraging people not to go around buying all sort of supplement that has that probably may have little effect on the body instead of eating the whole food. Okay, so vitamin C, mostly you get it from the citric fruits, okay, which is orange. You can get some from pineapple. You can get vitamin C from tangerine. You can get vitamin C from lemon. You can get vitamin C from lime as well. So we are encouraging people, if you are buying foods, try to include some of these things to be able to incorporate it into your diet. Okay. Vitamin C is also, vitamin D is also one of the nutrients that has been shown to help improve the immune system. And vitamin D can be gotten from, the main source of vitamin D is sunlight, okay, the early morning sunlight. However, you can get some from the foods as well, the oily fishes such as salmon. You can get some from tuna. You can get some vitamin D from the milk products, okay. And then some amount of eggs contain some amount of vitamin D as well. Then the other two vitamins that can improve the immune system is vitamin E and then zinc as well. Okay. And mostly with vitamin E, you get it from the nuts and seeds. That's almond nuts, cashew nuts. You can get some from sesame seeds, most of the seeds.
How about granules, which is very common?
Yes, the peanuts are common granules. You can get some from vitamins. You can get some some zinc from it, okay? And then also with regards to walnuts, almond nuts, you can get a lot of vitamin. You can get a lot of zinc and vitamin E from those sources. So we're encouraging people to do a lot more of the nuts and seeds to be able to help. So these are certain nutrients that has been shown to improve the immune function.
Okay. So vitamin E, tiger nuts.
Yes.
Could give you vitamin E.
Yes, you can get some from the nuts and seeds as well. And then whole grains, okay? You can get some from beans as well.
When you say whole grains, can you mention the specific?
Yes, so whole grains, we are talking about, cereals that have a lot of fiber. Our typical millets, you can get some from
wheat.
Brown rice, you can get some from wheat. We get some from our wheat bread. Things that have not been in their refined form, sorghum and other whole grain cereals, can actually also give you some of the zinc and vitamin E as well.
Great.
All right. So aside these particular nutrients and foods, we are also encouraging people to drink a lot of water. Okay, it is very, very important. Water intake can actually also improve your immune system. In fact, it's been shown that people who do not take a lot of water or adequate amount of water can have lowered immunity. And so the recommended amount of water should be about 6 to 8 glasses of water.
Okay.
That will be about between 4 to 6 sachets a day if you are bringing in a sachet form. And we are also, in terms of liters, about 1.5 to 2.5 liters, close to about 3 liters of water a day.
Okay.
It's adequate enough for the body. And sometimes in certain high temperatures, you are allowed to drink more. So at least you should not be drinking less than 6 to 8 glasses of water a day, because water intake at this point in time would be able to help boost the immune system. And then we also encourage certain lifestyle modifications. People who take in a lot of alcohol and cigarettes can also put the body at risk of lowered immunity. Recently when I was following the media, there are a lot of people who think that alcohol intake can actually prevent you from getting
if we're washing our hands with sanitizer made up of 70% of the alcohol, then we might as well drink it. That's what some people thought. Well,
that is not the case, okay? So you actually don't need to take in excess alcohol. Excess alcohol intake would actually rather put your immune system at risk. So the alcohol thing, it's about the alcohol in the hand sanitizers that we need to use in our hands and not for consumption. If you actually take in alcohol, you end up lowering your immune system, and that will put you at risk of COVID-19. And if you get an infection, the outcome could be very bad. In terms of cigarettes, in fact, yesterday WHO have even actually mentioned that cigarette intake should be discouraged at this point in time, because most people will use their hand to smoke. And if you have a contaminated hand with the virus and then you are smoking, you are likely to get infected because of using your hand to smoke as well. Aside that, some chemicals in the cigarette can also lead to lowering of your immune system.
One of the videos that made the rounds was this woman who was, even in the recovery stage, it was very horrible, and she was advocating that if you smoke, you're putting yourself in danger, because if you happen to get the virus, it will be difficult to fight it. Yeah, that's very true. So cigarettes or smoking is one of the things we discourage at this point in time. And then sleep, we need to have adequate amount of sleep. Stress has actually been shown to actually lower the immune system, and we're encouraging people to have adequate rest. At least for a typical adult, you should be having not less than 7 hours of sleep a day. So either 7 hours or 8 hours or more of sleep will actually help reduce your stress level and improve your immune system. If you do 5 hours in the night, but you take a nap a long, sometime in the day, does that make up for the 8 hours or more that you need?
Yeah, it does. So at least 7 hours or more includes the naps. Okay. So at least by the close of the day, you should be able to have about 7 hours or more of sleep to be able to reduce the body stress level and strengthen your immune system to protect you from COVID-19. So we're encouraging people to have adequate amount of sleep because it helps. And in terms of food security, now discussions are ongoing. There possibly can be a lockdown, and there's likely to be food security if there's a lockdown. Even if the lockdown for about 2 weeks or a month, there's likely going to be food security. So we're encouraging people to make sure that if in case of lockdown, when you buy the foods, you should store, you should make sure you have adequate amount of nutrient-rich foods. and also make sure that you reach out to other vulnerable or poor people who may not be able to afford in terms of lockdown. So food security issues may not even go all the way even after the end of this virus outbreak, because a lot of food systems have been affected and all that. So we need to look at that aspect as well. And then food safety is also very important during this period. Imagine we have a lockdown. I mean, people are going to buy a lot of foods to store. How do you keep the foods from going bad? It's also one of the things we need to look at. So we're I'm recommending that people who buy foodstuffs should store it in such a way that they separate the cooked meals from the raw, foods, because there could be a possibility of cross-contamination, and that could lead to infection as well.
Okay.
You know, we are dealing with COVID-19, but we are also entirely trying to fight other risks of infection. So food storage is very important. We are expecting people to actually, cook the foods and put them in separate portions that will be enough for a serving, so that you pick one portion, you heat that for the entire family instead of removing and reheating as well. Okay, so it's also one of the things we need to look at in case of a possible lockdown.
Great advice. Just some quick questions on WhatsApp and then we'll wrap up this. Somebody's asking, does Sobolo or Bissap have any benefits around this time, I guess, in particular?
All right. Yes, so it's actually a healthy fruit or juice. Sobolo, for instance, contains rich sources of folate, iron, and it has some amount of vitamin A. However, some people prepare it and put a lot of sugar inside. And so we are discouraging excessive consumption of fruit juices that has added sugars. So if you do the Sobolo, what I would recommend is you try to reduce the amount of sugar in it. Okay. So that you'll be able to get the maximum benefit.
Here's another question.
Sugar will put the body at risk.
I want to know whether palm wine intake in moderation also offers the body a good deal of vitamin A.
Well, okay, so palm wine and vitamin A, to the best of my knowledge, in fact, palm wine actually contains alcohol. And as earlier on discussed, alcohol is one of the things that can lower your immune system. In fact, if you are looking for vitamin A, you can get it from the red oil, you can get it from mango, you can get it from orange, carrot, tomatoes. You should rather look for vitamin A from the rich food sources, which I mentioned earlier. So there is no evidence that palm oil contains certain adequate amount of vitamin A that can help the body at this point in time. It actually will rather leave you worse because of the alcohol content in it. So we are encouraging that even if you take, please try to limit your intake of alcohol during this time.
Okay, all right. Here's another question, and it says, well, thank you for the education. Can you please give any advice on the use of sunflower oil? And is there any advice to ulcer patients? It's from Munkaila in Tamale.
All right. So sunflower oil is actually also classified as one of the highly rated oils because it contains omega-3 and omega-6 fatty acids. So we would recommend people use sunflower oil. But like I said, excess intake of oil, whether it's healthy or not, can still put the body at risk. So even if you are using sunflower oil, you should try to reduce the amount of oil. Okay. For stomach ulcer patients, we advise that you eat small frequent meals. You don't need to get hungry before you eat. When you do that, you upset the stomach. So even when you're on medication, you eat small frequent meals. When you eat too much at a time, it will cause pain. So never allow the body to feel hungry before you start to eat, because when that happens, you're going to upset your stomach.
All right. Somebody's asking specifically cow milk, also good for the body. Adam from Kentampo, I think it's part of the plates that we showed. I guess maybe because we said skimmed or semi-skimmed. There's a question related. Can you give me an example of skimmed milk?
All right. So we have a number of skimmed milk in the market. Normally I wouldn't like to promote a particular brand, but whenever you go to the malls, just ask for skimmed options. Whatever is available is fine. Most of the plant-based milks are okay. Soya milk, you have almond milk, we have non-dairy milk. The cow milk can also be used. We have low-fat options of cow milk that can be used. That are in the market. So once a particular milk brand has less amount of fat, it's good to go.
Here's one last question, unfortunately. Says, when you have all the required nutrients, how long should it be cooked to still maintain the nutrients? So if you're cooking the food, to still maintain the nutrients in the vegetables that you talk about, how long should you cook the food for?
All right. So typically, we would encourage people not to overheat the food. Okay. One of the things that is likely to happen is that when you are overheating the food, you are likely to have most of the nutrients being lynched. Some of the nutrients will get lynched, and that can put the body at risk. So it is very difficult to give a particular period of time for a particular food because it depends on the food particularly you are cooking for. But what we recommend is that normally some people overcook the food to a point where the color of the vegetable is changing to red. That is a signal to show that the food has been overheated. But we don't also want people to undercook their meals because at this point in time, cooking your food very well is also very important to prevent you from getting other infections as well.
Okay, all right. So I guess once it is cooked, you know it is cooked. Don't overheat it. You can just keep it in the freezer, and then you take the portions that you eat at a time to heat when you're ready to eat, and not heat the entire thing. So that was a question from Mami Efua from Legon. Well, this is where we have to end the conversation. I hope that we've done enough education and you know what to do. I like what you said. Don't take the supplement. Take it from the foods that would give you those nutrients that you require. And we've gone through quite a number, so we hope that you can help yourself with that. Maxwell, thank you very much for your time. Thank you for being here. Maxwell Bisala Konla is a member of the Ghana Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics. Well, you know, the primary method of transmitting COVID-19 is a droplet spread from being close to an infected person who may have no symptoms sometimes. Thus, social distancing is the most important way to reduce risk to you and others. Stay with us. More conversations coming up.